Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Happy November 5th. Today we're checking out the crazy history behind Bonfire Night in England.
400 years ago in England, a man transformed into a legend when he hatched a plot to bring down the government. But believe it or not, today, this infamous terrorist is actually celebrated.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready, because when the sun goes down over the town of Lewes, England, it's time for Guy Fawkes Night.
Okay,
Wait,
hang
you've
on.
never-
Where is England on a map? Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. I see where it is.
It's time for Guy Fawkes Night. Wait, you've never heard of Guy Fawkes Night? Bonfire
No,
Night?
I have
No?
heard of it. I
Okay,
have.
well,
What?
here's what you can expect.
So combative. All.
There are these guys, bonfires,
That's more than a
Torches.
bonfire.
about 60,000 spectators, and every kind of firework you can imagine.
Jeez.
There are also effigies of Guy Fawkes, the namesake of Lewes' annual descent into pyromania.
My interpretation of this before a minute 13 into this video was that it was sort of like the British version of, in America we have July 4th and we set off a bunch of fireworks to celebrate independence. This has a much creepier tone to it. I see people walking around with crosses on fire. That's creepy. People walking through a crowded city with torches just makes me think of like a witch hunt or Frankenstein. And it doesn't help the fact that the Guy Fawkes mask, he looks like a villain. It's that mustache. And he's smiling all the time. And the soul patch. Creepy. See, look at that. In America, that has very different connotations, I think.
Richard Cox is a member of the Lewisboro Bonfire Society, which dates back to 1853. They helped keep Guy's legacy alive.
Guy Fawkes was probably
1853.
the first world terrorist. We celebrate as of a struggle, really, and resistance.
So they're celebrating resistance and what?
Of a struggle, really, and resistance.
Okay. Interesting to me that he's a terrorist, though. Like he tried to take down the government. Who's this guy with again? Lewisboro Bonfire Society. It's the oldest bonfire society in the town of Lewes. Looks like they carry a key around with them. Why specifically 1853? What happened in 1853? I'm not finding anything about why 1853 was... Maybe it was just they all had a really great time and they're like, let's do this again next year.
But who was this Guy Fawkes? And what the heck is going on here? It's 1604. King James I and the Protestant Church of England have made life pretty much impossible for the Catholics. Desperate for change, a group of radical Catholics secretly bands together and takes an oath to dethrone King James and end Protestant rule by any means necessary.
Here we are again. In the name of God, let's kill all these God's creations.
These guys aren't messing around either. Their plan? Kill the king and the members of the Houses of Parliament. The conspirators include a man named Guy Fawkes, a seasoned war veteran who's ready to die for the cause.
He was a seasoned war veteran? What war? He traveled to the continent to fight in the 80 Years' War for Catholic Spain. Okay, he was Catholic. Oh yeah, and King James was killing Catholics for being Catholic, so this was an issue for him. Seems like that's what he's been fighting for his whole life. I kind of sympathize with him.
They rent a storage room directly below the House of Lords and pack it with 36 barrels of gunpowder, enough to level a city block. They use stacks of firewood to camouflage the explosives. With the gunpowder in place, Fawkes volunteers for the operation's most dangerous and critical assignment. When Parliament is called into session, Fawkes will light the fuse.
This is reminding me of a Game of Thrones episode where someone blows up a building in the similar way. I don't want to spoil the show for you if you haven't watched it, but I wonder if they got the idea from this. They must have.
Unfortunately, one of his co-conspirators breaks ranks and sends an anonymous letter to a government official, warning that Parliament was going to receive, quote, a terrible blow.
So the authority knew about it 10 days before it was going to happen. Who did they tell again?
To a government official.
They just say a government official. Who was it? Lord Monteagle, who was also Catholic. So even though this government official was also Catholic, he's like, you can't kill all these people. That's a good person. I like this guy now.
Word of the leak gets back to Fawkes. Compelled to prove his commitment to the cause, he goes to check on the hidden barrels of gunpowder and is relieved to find them untouched and ready for detonation. The countdown is back on. 10 days and England's parliament will be blown to smithereens.
10 days. So Fawkes knew that he had been reported on, so he went back to check the gunpowder and it was all still there. So I guess he maybe thought that the government authority was not going to do anything. Lord Monteagle was Catholic, so maybe Guy Fawkes just thought maybe Lord Monteagle's cool with blowing up Parliament and the King. Although, hindsight's 20/20, I know. But at that point, wouldn't you want to just abort the plan and do it a different time? Or move the gunpowder, even though, I don't know. Guy was taking a risk.
Back in present-day Lewis, nothing is sacred. Effigies of England's top government officials, celebrities, and world leaders are paraded through town on a march that ends in a sea of flames. It's a fiery ending, reminiscent of Guy Fawkes' plans for November 5th, 1605.
So in modern day, they use it as a chance to pull down those higher status people, or at least, like, kick them down a notch. What do you call it? Take the piss out of? What's the British term? Kick him in the knob? Kick him in the bollocks? What is the term? I can't think of it. Take the piss out of? Is that it?
It's a fiery ending, reminiscent of Guy Fawkes' plans for November 5th, 1605. The day before the opening session of Parliament, news of the imminent threat reaches King James.
Took 9 days?
He orders a full search of the area. Within hours, his men find Guy Fawkes in the room.
Go!
Within hours, his men find Guy Fawkes in the room directly below the House of Lords. Fawkes says his name is John Johnson and claims the pile of firewood he's guarding belongs to his master. Amazingly,
Wait,
they take
what did he say his name was?
Fawkes says his name is John Johnson and claims the pile of firewood he's guarding belongs to his master.
Oh, no, I'm not Guy Fawkes. My name is, John Johnson. Oh, this firewood? It's not mine. It belongs to my master. I'm just watching it. I'm just, like, here with it. I'm just being with it, sitting with it. My name is John Johnson, by the way. Just want to make that clear. Honey, you've just given birth. What should we name our child? Since our last name is Johnson, let's name him John. So his name will be John Johnson. Oh. Maybe we should name him Jonathan Johnson. No, John Johnson. Okay. So was Guy Fawkes an intelligent person? I mean, he must have been thinking on his feet to come up with that name. I can't believe it. This has to be a thing. I can't be the only one who makes fun of John Johnson. John Johnson. It is not clear whether the name John Johnson was considered comically implausible in the 17th century. It must have been. I wonder if he said his name was like Stephen Johnson, he would have gotten away with it. I mean, his name is Guy, so it probably threw off his whole idea of what's a normal name.
Fawkes says his name is John Johnson and claims the pile of firewood he's guarding belongs to his master.
It's not mine.
Amazingly, they take him at his word.
What?
Fawkes manages to evade capture.
Wait,
and is now
what?
poised to send England into chaos. And perhaps even change the future of government.
They bought it? They believed his name was John Johnson. Wow. Those are some dumb guards. Holy crap. They even knew. They were told there were barrels of gunpowder, and yet they believed this guy. I did not expect that. That is a twist. I mean, maybe, yeah, my name's John Johnson. Would I make up that name? No, I guess he wouldn't make that name up. His name's probably really John Johnson.
Fawkes manages to evade capture and is now poised to send England into chaos and perhaps even change the future of government forever. It's just before midnight on November 4th, 1605, and Guy Fawkes is just hours away from igniting a stockpile of gunpowder intended to wreak havoc on England's oppressive Protestant government. But King James orders his soldiers to return to the basement and once again question the man guarding the store of firewood.
So the king's like, guys, you took him at his word? He told you his name was John Johnson and you believed him? Yeah, he told us his name is John Johnson. We didn't think he would make up a name like that. His name is not John Johnson. That is a made-up name. Go back and arrest him and look under the wood.
Fawkes is still at his post. They take a closer look at the woodpile and make a shocking discovery: the hidden barrels of gunpowder. The men take Fawkes into custody and bring him before the king. Maintaining his loyalty to the cause, Fawkes declares that he acted alone, defiantly adding, "I wanted to blow you back to your Scottish mountains."
I admire that about him. Even when he was caught, he did not sell his friends out, and his other friends sold him out. I respect Guy Fawkes for that. Guy, Mr. Fawkes, Mr. Johnson.
While the king is impressed by Guy's fortitude,
Oh,
he
right.
still wants the names of his
I forgot that King James was from Scotland, right? He was the king of Scotland before he was the king of England, is that right? Right, because someone died and he inherited it, blah, blah, blah. So Guy was hating on King James because not only was he killing Catholics, but he was also Scottish and then took over his homeland. Dang.
Fawkes withstands 3 days of torture before he starts giving up names.
Ugh.
In the following weeks, all the collaborators in the plot are hunted down. The men are ordered to be hanged, but not to death. After squirming on a noose, they're then to be drawn and quartered in the public square.
Props to Guy Fawkes for holding out for 3 days of torture. He could have just listed names of people that he wanted killed. What if he started listing names of people like members of parliament? Just list all their names? And then Parliament's dead. So the king was hanging them, but not to death. He was torturing them with a hanging, and then drawing and quartering them, which I think is where they tie your hands and your legs to horses and then make the horses run. So you're basically your body's pulled apart.
Ooh, that's harsh. For those of you who don't know what drawn and quartered is, it's kind of like what happens to a chicken before it gets fried and tossed in a bucket. Basically, a gruesome punishment designed to get one's point across.
He didn't go into detail. So usually when you take a chicken apart, you don't tie it to horses. 2 brutal forms of execution practiced in the past. In one, the victim was drawn by a horse to a gallows, hanged, and then cut into 4 pieces and scattered. In the other, the victim was hanged, disemboweled while still alive, and then beheaded and dismembered. Okay. From the painting, it looks like it was the second one because there's an image of a guy slicing somebody open. A little art there.
They're then to be drawn and quartered in the public square. But legend says Fawkes figures out a way to get off easy. As the noose is placed over his head, he leaps from the gallows, breaking his neck and dying instantly.
Well,
he is spared the cruel and painful death of his co-conspirators.
Hey, that's smart.
The king then decrees the observance of the 5th of November Act, an annual celebration of his thwarting of the plot to take down Parliament. In the years that followed, holiday revelers burned effigies of the Pope and other religious figures to uphold the anti-Catholic sentiment of the time.
So the king declared November 5th a celebration of him killing Guy Fawkes and all these conspirators, but the people over time have turned it into a celebration of Guy Fawkes and fireworks and fire in general.
Everyone loves a good villain. Maybe that is the irony of it. We use fireworks to celebrate what would have happened if he hadn't have been caught.
So while he didn't actually manage to bring down his government, the legend of Guy Fawkes lives on. A mask resembling his image has become the literal face of free speech.
Before watching this, I would have guessed that Guy Fawkes had some really elaborate, brilliant plan. It turns out it was all kind of sloppy and very fundamental. And coming up with the name John Johnson, and then it worked? And the king had to say, "No, you idiots, that's a fake name. Go back and look under the wood." So now I get it. At first I thought, why would you celebrate this man who's trying to destroy the government? A terrorist, basically. But I get it. I respect him because he didn't rat on his friends at first, until after 3 days of torture. And then he was smart enough to, and had the guts to jump off the platform when they put the noose around his neck, so he didn't have to go through the torture. It's a tough decision to make. I mean, is it though? I mean, it's not a tough decision, but I guess it's tough to follow through with it and actually jump. Literally dive in. To death. I hope all of you watching have a wonderful November 5th. If you celebrate, thanks for recommending this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.